Hey guys, how is it all going? So, thank you so much for joining me for what is the final episode of The Last of Us Season 1. Now, I forgot to mention this in my last episode review, but guys, like all the other reviews that I've done for every episode, there will be spoilers. So, if you don't care about spoilers, stay. If you do care about spoilers, go off, watch the episode, and come back to me. So, before I get into this review, I just have to do this. This show, I'm probably going to say this for the 1,000th time in all these reviews. This show is an absolute masterpiece. I am so happy as a huge fan of the game just how perfect this show was. Down to Pedro Pascal as Joel, Bella Ramsey as Ellie, every actor, actress that is in the show, all the crew, everyone behind the scenes, everyone that had anything to do with this show, you have created a masterpiece. And from a fan of The Last of Us game, I really can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for giving us this series. So happy. But what I loved about the start of this episode was we got to see Ashley Johnson, who plays Ellie in the game. And it was so cool seeing her as Ellie's mum. You know, it just feels like it's nice. It's nice casting. If you're going to play Ellie's mum, have the lady that played Ellie in the games, and I like that. So we got to see Ellie and being born, and also how she might be immune to this disease, this virus, because as Ashley Johnson's character is given birth, she's being attacked by an infected, and we see that she's been bitten, but also she has given birth to Ellie. Now, that never happens in the game. We never really understand how Ellie could be immune, but I like how they kind of give you like a little subtle thing, like this could be the reason why. Obviously, as Ellie's mum being bitten and she's given birth, maybe the DNA, something like that, has interfered with it. We don't really know, but it's kind of nice that they kind of hint at it anyway. But Marlene comes across, Anna is her name, that's Ellie's mum. Anna comes across Anna. Anna has to take Ellie, take her to Boston, keep her safe, but to kill her because she's been bitten, she's infected, and Marlene does that. It's quite a heartbreaking scene, to be honest with you. Like a lot of these scenes are in this season. But anyway, we fast forward to Joel and Ellie, and I love how their relationship is like Joel has completely took to Ellie now. Like Ellie is his friend, is his, is everything. Like he's talking to her, he's chatty, he's like saying, "Oh, I found this board game, I found this food for us and all this," and he's like excited to be around and wants to talk to her, whereas Ellie is very distant at the start of this episode, and she's not really saying much, and that's probably due to the fact of the horrific offence that just happened to her in the episode before. But it's kind of funny how it's changed from the start of the season, because Joel was the quiet one, wouldn't say a word, and Ellie is so chatty and can't stop talking to Joel, and it's completely flipped the other way around in this last episode, and I like that. But I also like how we get to a moment where Joel is talking to Ellie and explains to him about the scar that he had on the side of the head. And if you remember, in the beginning of the season, Joel says, "Oh, someone shot at him and missed." We come to find out the real reason why he has that scar, and it's heartbreaking, and it's fully understandable that he would be at that place in his life after losing his daughter, that he would consider taking the actions that he was going to take. Luckily, like he says, he jolted, it missed, and he basically turns around to Ellie and says that he's glad that it happened. And Ellie says, "Well, time heals all wounds," and he looks at Ellie and he goes, "It wasn't time that healed it," hitting to the fact that Ellie has cured him or made him feel human again, like just made him feel himself. And it's a lovely scene. And also later on in that scene we get the famous scene from the game with the giraffe and the interaction with Joel and Ellie with the giraffe, feeding the giraffe, and Ellie laughing and having a good time, and Joel seeing that and having that moment where he turns around to Ellie and goes, "Look, we don't have to go through with this. We could just go back to Tommy's and live a normal life there." You know, and Ellie understands what he's trying to say and that he's looking out for her. But like Ellie says, like after everything that we've done, it can't be for nothing. We have to finish this. We have to see this through. And Joel understands Ellie and accepts that, and then on the way they go. Anyway, they get attacked by the fireflies. They get taken to the hospital, and that's where Marlene is. Sorry, and that's where Joel finds out that to get the cure from Ellie, which we don't know would work 100%. By the way, like it's never established that this is it. This would work. That she's being prepped for surgery, and unfortunately, the surgery to get the cure out of Ellie to save the world, basically, is going to kill Ellie. Ellie would not survive this surgery. Obviously, Joel is not happy about this. He does not want this to happen. And he gets attacked again, and basically, Marlene tells the soldiers to escort him out the building if he tries anything, to kill him. This next part is one of my favourite parts of this whole season, and it was one of my favourite moments in the game, because Joel goes full Terminator at a Terminator 1 in the police station scene. He starts taking out everybody, and I mean everybody. He is not letting anybody survive. I think he lets 3 people survive. Other than that, he is massacring everybody. And I remember playing that part of the game where you truly want to get to Ellie. Like, you want to get there and save her. And you are just laying waste to every firefly you could see. You're just taking them all out. And I loved how they did it in this series. I just loved how it was filmed, how it was shot with the somber music. And you're just rooting for him to get there. And then we get to the moment where, and if you haven't played the second game of The Last of Us, you get to this moment where the surgeon says, "I can't let you take her out of this room," and he shoots him in the head. I got a bit of a guilty smile in that, because as we all know, that is Abby's dad, and I hated the part 2 story, so fuck Abby with a passion. I'm glad your dad got shot in the head. Anyway, moving forward. Moving forward, he picks up Ellie, takes Ellie out, and this is where Marlene tries to stop him taking Ellie. Joel wipes Marlene out. But before then, Marlene says to him, "Look, this is what Ellie would want to do." And Joel knows that. He actually knows that Ellie would accept her fate in this if it was to cure the world, or to hope to cure the world, and life could kind of get some kind of normality back. Ellie would do it. She really would. And like I say, Joel knows that. But being Joel, and I understand Joel, he can't just let Ellie die, because you've got to understand, it's not the infected or that world that crushed Joel and took everything from him. It was a human being that did that. It was, it was an army guy that killed his daughter, not infected. So the infected in that world is not his enemy, if that makes sense. So he's just got back something that has been missing in his life. It's like he didn't have a heart, and now all of a sudden he's got his heart back. He feels love, he feels emotion, he feels happiness. And there is no way he is going to give that up and give Ellie up. Not after what they've been through to get there. He's just not going to let her die. So he gets Ellie out of there, and then the end of this episode plays out quite similarly to the last of the game. Ellie wakes up. He explains to Ellie as they're driving off that there's hundreds like her, and they couldn't get a cure, and they've stopped trying to get a cure. And It's a fun. It's so well acted, especially by Pedro Pascal, that soon as Ellie just rolls back over to kind of rest or whatever, and she's obviously feeling like down, that kind of the journey's been wasted and nothing good has come from it. And Pedro Pascal just says, "I'm sorry," because like, he knows what he's done. He knows he's betrayed Ellie's trust. And then we get to the end of the episode where, and I said this in another episode, that it was never it was never said to us, but it was always hinted at that Ellie might have to have killed Riley. And it pretty much gets confirmed in this, which is different from the game, because obviously when the game came out, we didn't have the DLC. That came out much later. But Ellie explains to Joel that basically, she killed her first love. And asks Joel, is it true what you've said about the Fireflies? Is it true? Is everything you have told me true? And Joel again lies to her and says yes. And it's exactly the same ending to the game, where Ellie goes, okay, and accepts what he's told her, and then credits roll. And it's such a powerful ending. And I remember in the game, there was not a lot of people liked the ending to it. I did. I just thought it was a perfect ending to that story and that game. Obviously, what comes in part 2, I know there's people that love that game, and fair play if they do. And if you like the story, fair play. And if you like the character of Abby, I mean, honestly, I wish I did. But I don't. So when it's coming to adapt part 2, which is probably is going to be season 2 of the game, I've got a lot of worries and a lot of things that I don't want to happen, that happen in the game, happening in this show. But that's a whole completely different discussion for another time. We are talking about The Last of Us Season 1, and the season is fantastic. I am so happy as the fan of the game. What they've done with the series is just perfection. But I will say this, and there has been a little bit of criticism that there hasn't been a lot of infected throughout the series. And I must admit, there have been a couple of times throughout the show where I wish they did have certain parts of the game with the infected that were in the series. I mentioned one of them in the last episode with David and Ellie, with the attack that they have with the infected. I wish that was there. And also, I must admit, even though I love episode 3, I love the Bill episode with Frank. It was heart-wrenching, and man, did I cry my eyes out in that episode. There is a part of me that would have liked to have seen Bill from the game and what he did in the game incorporated in the series. There is a part of me that's like, man, I would have loved to have seen that take place in live action, but it wasn't to be. And the episode we got was brilliant, and I take nothing away from them. And what I think they've done well in this season, just to wrap this up, is how the changes they've made have been fine. It's been perfect for the series. It really has. So the series is fantastic. The whole episode's 5 out of 5. The whole season is 5 out of 5. I absolutely love it. Guys, if you've enjoyed the season, let me know in the comments below. It is absolutely always a pleasure hearing from you. Thank you so much for joining me for all my reviews. I've really hoped you liked them. It's been a pleasure doing it for you. It really is. And guys, as always, please take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you again real soon. Take care, guys. Goodbye now.